Yes, people, what's happening? And welcome back to Gav Goes In. Greats of the game. We're going to carry it on. Big up to everyone interacting with the greats of the game as well. And make sure you keep giving your comments, smashing that like as well to get it out to more people. We're going to move on anyway to a player for me. And again, another player that is, for me, slept on when we talk about the best strikers to play the game. You know, the closest player that I looked at this player that we're going to talk about now was Sergio Aguero. I think in terms of, you know, the diminutive height, you know, the finishing, you know, the sharpness in the box. And again, Aguero reminded me a lot of this player, you know, and again, another player, another South American. I'm probably giving it away to you, some of you already, but for me, a player that I rated highly, you know, and when we talk about the best ever Brazilian strikers, you know, sometimes I think people forget he actually played, you know what I mean? Or just his name just slips the mind, you know. But that's none other than Brazil's Romario, you know. And when I'm saying Sergio Aguero is reminiscent of him, identical, very similar in height. The way they were very sharp in the box, you know, some of the finishes that Aguero's done is reminiscent from what I've seen of Romario. And again, Romario was on the scene before R9. You know, if anyone remembers Bebeto as well, you know, that partnership was good. But yeah, Romario was ridiculous, man, ridiculous. You know what it is? He was one of them ones, yeah, that, and it's just brought me back to another Brazilian striker as well called Edmundo. You know, if anyone remembers Edmundo, formerly of Fiorentina and I believe Vasco da Gama as well. Like, Brazil have had some serious strikers, man. And Romario, for me, is one of the best. My best is R9, as you guys already know. But Romario is definitely there. And what I liked about Romario is that I looked at him as a silent assassin. You know, he was someone that, you know, he wasn't aggressive in how he played the game, but he was that in terms of his finishing. And he was clinical when he needed to be, you know. And as with all Brazilian greats, these guys had mad skills, mad composure, you know, flamboyant. And he had the finishing that made him ruthless, you know. And obviously played for Barcelona, you know. Was it Flamengo he might have been at as well? I can't remember. But he was just devastating, Romario. And again, we're going to go through the numbers. And I think all the players that I've mentioned so far, I think he might have probably the best numbers. But again, it wasn't numbers for me, as I keep telling you guys. It was just the quality of the player. So let's go through it anyway. So first off, fourth highest goal scorer ever for Brazil. You know, obviously behind R9, Neymar and Pele. So again, that's some accolade, you know, to be the fourth highest goal scorer ever for Brazil. 698 appearances, 542 goals, which is insane. Again, and as I said, his numbers, Romario, backed up the ability. And I believe that is the way football should always be looked at. You know, if you're a striker, the goal should be a bonus, you know. And again, just watching Romario, what a player he was. So, you know, 279 appearances for Vasco da Gama, 207 goals, which is ridiculous. PSV, 110 appearances, 98 goals. Barcelona, 46 appearances, 34 goals. And it's funny that him and R9 Ronaldo followed a very similar path in the sense of PSV and then Barcelona. You know, and that's probably where Ronaldo, R9, probably got the PSV and Barcelona in his head because of Romario. Flamengo, 146 appearances, 115 goals. Fluminense, 73 appearances, 45 goals. And then Brazil, 70 appearances, and 55 goals. So again, the numbers will tell you that this guy was more or less averaging a goal a game or close to that, yeah? And as I said, man, ridiculous striker, you know, clinical. And let's go through the team honours. 8 Brazilian leagues combined with Flamengo and Fluminense and Vasco da Gama. 2 Eredivises with PSV. 1 Dutch Cup with PSV. La Liga, Supercopa, España with Barcelona. Brazilian Cup, Copa del Rey. 1 World Cup with obviously Brazil. 2 Copa Americas with Brazil. 1 Confederations Cup. and a silver medal in the Olympics for Brazil. Individual, and you know what, this actually surprises me, yeah, because I actually forgot about this, yeah. And again, this is a player that is criminally slept on. One World Player of the Year for Romario. This is a guy that won the Ballon d'Or, World Player of the Year, and I even forgot about that. So that just shows you how good he was. One South American Ballon d'Or. So again, the best player in South America, and the competition was very high back then as well. Third place in the European Golden Boot. Golden Boot in the Confederations Cup. 2 Champions Leagues. I can't remember who that was with. And then top scorer, I think, in the Champions League when they won it as well. So again, what a career for Romario, man. Part of, you know, the plethora of strikers that Brazil just produce. You know, you think of R9, as I said, Romario, Edmundo, Adriano, you know, even guys like Luis Fabiano, you know, who not rated as highly as them guys, but Brazil just produced strikers. Obviously, Pele, you know, there's probably a few that I've actually forgotten, you know what I mean? But Brazil just produced strikers, man. Obviously, now they're struggling a bit, but they're hoping that the likes of Endrick, you know, I know João Pedro's more of a 10. Even like the guys like Igor Thiago and Igor Jesus, you know, these guys are up and coming as well, or want to be forging their own career. But Brazil always do produce strikers, and for me, the top 3, R9, Romario, Adriano for me. Obviously Pele, but Pele wasn't really in my time. But yeah, they just produce strikers, man, and Romario's definitely one of them. And again, I'd advise people to go and watch a couple of clips of these players, man, and just to see how good they are. Because when I watch football right now, you know, football's starving, man, in the sense of the kind of players that we have to watch on a regular basis. Because people will tell you, for argument's sake, you know, Erling Haaland is better than Romario. How? Why? You know what I mean? Who told you that? And the only thing that these guys can come to you with, really, is that he scores more goals. But as you can see, Romario had a very good goal scoring rate and was a better player, an all-round player. So, you know, this is why I enjoy doing you know, content on players like this, because it helps even myself to remind me that football was alive back then, and it still should be alive with the kind of players, you know, that they've got, that they had back in the day. And there's no part of me that's going to forget these kind of players, man. So, yeah. Guys, let me know what you think about Romario, you know, R11, you know, throughout his career. Let me know what you think. Do you think Romario is one of them players that is often overlooked when it comes to conversation about the best ever strikers to play the game? Let me know where you think he ranks in terms of Brazilian strikers as well. I think, and again, I'm not including Pele in this because Pele wasn't really my time, you know, but I'm looking at Romario as being in between first and third, because, you know, my 2 favourites, you know, are R9 and Adriano. And I know Adriano didn't have the longevity that a lot of people look at. But Romario, for me, is definitely top 3. But I don't know if I have him above Adriano. He's definitely not above R9 for me. But I'm not sure if he's above Adriano, you know, because I rate Adriano highly and could have gone on to emulate a similar career to R9, you know, if it wasn't for family or personal problems. But yeah, let me know what you think. As I said, sub to the channel, smash the likes, share the channel, and yeah, check out all the other content as well. And let me know what you think. Take it easy.